Hello, dwarfs and dwarfettes. This is Mick Jury Duty Summons. And lately, I've had a couple of questions about getting furnaces running and getting wood burning running, getting metal made. And I figured that just after making the military and everything, it's a good time to go over the metal industry and to show you guys some of the tricks to get it going properly and all that good stuff. And especially with a military, we're gonna need to protect them and give them sharp and pointy things to stab goblins with, and so the metal industry is the ideal way of doing that. All right. So the first thing you'll want is you'll want to have purchased a anvil at either the first caravan that comes to the fortress or the second or third, depending on if the first caravan doesn't bring one. If the first caravan doesn't bring one, then you're gonna have to wait a while before you get some more. But there's like an 80% chance they'll bring one, and usually I don't get my metal industry up and running until later anyway, so it's not a big deal if the first one doesn't get it. In any event, you have to buy at least one anvil because you can't make more anvils unless you have an anvil to make an anvil. Which, of course, leads one to the question of how did the first anvil get created, but I don't have an answer to that question. All right, in any event, that we know what we want. I'm gonna build a furnace here. You're gonna need if you don't have some coke already, something to smelt with. You're going to need a wood furnace, so I'll build one of those right now using a block. And I'm also going to build 2 smelters. Those will be the main things we're using. Do I only have... Oh, I have some marble blocks. Okay. Blammo. Okay, we got 2 smelters going, or ready to go. I'm also going to build a... so W for workshop... and a metalsmith's forge. I'm going to build 2 of those. And you can see I have a couple of anvils because I wanted to get going pretty quick here. Alright, and the next thing we want to do is start setting up the stockpiles for this. This is going to require some interesting stockpile management. What I like to do is set up a stone stockpile. Is it just stone stockpile, or is it like a specific ore? No, it's just stone. Okay. And so for the 2 furnaces down here, one of them we're going to set to the fuel material, which is going to be called... Well, we'll check that in a second here. And the other one is going to be one of the bar materials, and maybe another bar material. Because we may actually want to be smelting 2 materials at the same time. But I usually will have one, early on I'll have one furnace running making fuel and the other one running making bars. Alright, so let's make them custom stockpiles, otherwise they'll get filled with stuff we don't want. This one is going to be, let's see, economic. Okay. Alright, the 2 fuels that we need to worry about is bituminous coal and lignite. Both of those can be turned into more fuel. So you use 1 fuel to burn it, and you get on the lignite you get 2 fuels back. On the coal you get 3 fuel back. And the fuel when you use this is called coke. On the wood furnace you can burn wood to make charcoal. That works just fine. But if you don't have wood, seems to be a lot. It seems to be more difficult to get. You can have less wood around, especially when the elves start saying don't get any more. I don't know, though I haven't run into that recently. I don't know if they still do that. That might have been something they don't do anymore. So anyway, I don't think we have any of this kind of coal on the map, which is unfortunate because it would be better. But we do have lignite, so we'll turn that on. And that's it for that stockpile. On this one is going to be for the ore. And so we'll turn off all of those. Turn off that. Since I already know what kind of ore we have, it's going to be tetrahedrite. And do we have another kind of ore? I don't remember. But for right now, we'll just do it tetrahedrite. That is an ore of copper, and occasionally when you smelt it, you get silver. So it's a pretty good ore. Hematites, lemonites, those are both iron, I believe. There's a great place on the wiki that if you wanted to look up what each of the different ores were. And I don't remember. I'll put a link in it in the description. If I forget, someone let me know. And I will correct that immediately. Alright, where was I at? Yes, since I know I have tetrahedrite to smelt, I'm going to make that as the material for the stockpile. And this one up here... I'm just going to set that to any other ore because I don't know if I have any other ores, but I could. I could have ran across a few and just didn't notice. So we'll see what happens on that. It might even just fill with tetrahedrite as well. So we'll let the dwarves get to busy. Get busy, dwarves! Load them! Alright. Yeah, he's making rock cabinets. Carpenter's workshop. Okay, those are all good. Oh yes, interestingly enough, this gray part of the floor, some of it, is actually lignite. Doesn't hurt. It's actually it's a more valuable stone, so it's it can make the room more valuable, which is nice. Oh yes, I had a billy goat be butchered for food. Billy goat. Alright, what is that? Oh, there's my lignite. Okay, tetrahedrite, perfect. Oh, I had a gold ore. Gold nuggets, awesome. That's what I'm doing right there. You hit K, and it will let you inspect the ore. All right, I'm gonna pause here, let the buildings finish building, and let the stockpiles fill up. Actually, I take that back. This is a good time to talk about one of the other things you need to do. At this point, I'm going to switch over to Dwarf Therapist, and we'll take a look at what's going on here. Since we're going to be doing a lot of furnacing, we're going to need furnace operator labor enabled. Since we have 2 furnaces, I'll have 2 dwarves do that. If you are going to be wood burning, you need the wood burning labor enabled. That is enabled on this guy who is planting seeds, so my farmer. My farmer will burn wood if I ever need to do that, which I don't because I embarked with a coke and some bit of coal. What else? Alright, so we got metal crafting, in case we wanted to do that. Blacksmithing, armoring, and weaponsmithing. Oops. So this dwarf right here, this guy is going to be the main... He's currently the most skilled at most of these things, so... Yep. So we'll take him off of stone detailing, which is kind of unfortunate, because he was getting some levels in it. Anyway, commit. The last thing I wanted to show is that we don't really want our furnace operators to be hauling stone around. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm also going to turn that off of this guy as well. And I have a secondary weaponsmith, it looks like. I'm going to turn off metal crafting on that guy and turn it on that guy. Because I'm going to have him do the weapons and train those skills up. I'm going to have this guy do the metal crafting. Yeah. So there we go. That way we can get 2 people working at once doing important things. And not have to worry about having one guy who can't do everything all at once. So we lose a little bit in skill there, but it's actually the same level and it's not too much experience. Commit pending changes. Okay. It looks like everything is finished. All right, so we want to have. I'm going to have this guy here. That's a wood furnace. There we go. So I'm going to have one of these furnaces making coke. I actually do have a little bit of coal, but it's stuff I embarked with, so we'll include that on there. But that means they're going to have to haul it. Which, never mind. I'll cancel that. So that's all he's going to do is make coke, which is just fine. The other one, all they're going to do is smelt tetrahedrite ore. And that's going to give us some copper, which would be perfect. Alright, and the other thing we want to do is create another stockpile for the bars. So bars and blocks. We'll make this stockpile rather large because it's going to be the main output of this area. And we also want to do a... What else do we want to do? Maybe a small finished goods stockpile. And a... armor. I thought there was an armor. I'm tired, so I'm not seeing things anymore. Oh, P for weapons. So we'll do a weapon stockpile. And then D for armor. There you go. That'll take care of most of the output. And since we have disabled the hauling on our smiths, it's okay that it's a little farther away. Some other dwarf will come by the forge, and take the stuff away. All right, so we have a dwarf. Oh, yeah. So yeah, we need to get some coal going before we can start the other one. And we can actually even make some charcoal, just so we can show how that works. What? Oh. Turns out I don't have any coke. Could have swore I had some. I apparently bought some, yeah, I bought a few bars of metal from the what's it called, just for the purposes of making sure I had something to start with. Okay, so anyway, I apparently don't have any coke left. I may have, I don't know what happened to it. Maybe something grabbed it in a strange mood. I don't know. Oh, there's right there. Okay, so what was happening is someone was hauling it when he wanted to use it, which throws him off. Anyway, that was my fault. Let's try this again. There we go. Ta-da! And so he'll use one coke and make two, essentially. And you see that other dwarf ran over there and put it in the bin for him. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Okay, so he freaked out because he didn't have any coke left, because the other twos were moving. Alright, so we'll just do it again. One more time. Come on. It's okay, man. You can do your job. Alright, that dwarf making some charcoal, so we're going to have a little bit of backup. There we go. It looks like everything is working smoothly now. That's good. Perfect. Let's get a buffer of a couple. Let's see. Charcoal and coke. Okay, well. Alright, I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to let that guy go for a while until we have maybe a dozen or so. And then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, we got a couple coal made. Or a lot of coke, I mean. And one trick I like to do is I like to find like 3 coke and then forbid it. That way the furnaces won't use it. And if for some reason I run out of lignite and I don't notice before like the forges use it all up, that way I have a bit of coke to start with and I don't have to waste any wood to keep going, to start over on the coke production. Alright, so there we go. We got a couple nuggets. Yeah, so we got a bunch of coke, a little bit of charcoal because I was feeling charcoaly. We'll let that smelter go on the making of the coke, and then we'll start smelting the tetrahedrite ore. And we're going to let that go for a couple of minutes, and then when it's done, I'll come back and I'll show you guys just how to start producing the materials for our soldiers so they don't die so easily. Alright, I'm back. The dwarves have been working away and smelting stuff for me. So as we got some copper bars in there, a bunch of copper bars, and a few silver bars. Silver, that'll be good for, I like to make noble furniture out of silver because it has a lot more value, individual value than like just copper or some of the base metals like iron and stuff like that. If we have some of the things like billion and sterling silver and electrons, those are even more valuable, but you know, they're pretty good. Anyway, we'll just go with some basic stuff for right now. Our dwarves are going to need some iron. Bronze and iron are both better than copper. Copper's not a great metal for this, but unfortunately I don't have the other stuff to make bronze, which is the other material would be tin or the ore of tin. So unfortunately, we have to go for copper until we actually end up finding either some tin or some iron. And if we find some iron, then we can actually go all the way up to steel, which is going to be some of the better material. Or actually, the best is adamantite, but we don't have any of that. Unlikely to find any anytime soon. Anyway, let's make some copper stuff. And so we'll get some breastplates going. So that's 5 because we have 5 in the army. And we'll do some leggings. So that's good to get them started on that. And let's do some copper. Let's say, actually, as far as weapons go, if you have silver available, the silver warhammer is a very good weapon. It tends to be really heavy and hits really hard, so that's a good way to go. Battle axe is also a very good classic, although you'd probably want to make that out of something else other than silver. In any event, we'll let the dwarves have at it. Hopefully someone will run by here and start making that stuff for us. Anyway, that's the basics of the metal industry, the tips and tricks and whatnot. You can see the important parts are having the materials at hand, so that way your dwarves can be quick about what they're doing. You don't want them running down into your mines to grab the ore, because they'll take 2 or 3 times longer than it would otherwise. And so, yep, the important parts are having your stockpile set up properly and close by at hand. And it's always handy to disable the hauling off some of these guys, so other dwarves can take the time to do the hauling. And one other thing, if it says CTL at the very top next to the title of the up where it says smelter, up to the title of the building, that means the building is cluttered. And the more cluttered it gets, the slower the building will actually produce whatever it is you're trying to produce. So just be careful about that. It's really easy for smelters to get cluttered because you have them running full time. And if you run out of stockpile space, it can happen pretty quickly. So this big of a stockpile right here, if you just keep the bin production up, will hold a ton of bars and stuff. And so this should last us a really long time. And let's see here. Yep, that's about all I want to say, because we're not making huge amounts of armor and weapons at this time, and we probably would end up selling them if we end up getting much more. This size stockpile will be good for now. I left these other spaces open for just other stuff we need. I might add a few more furnaces depending on how much storage and stuff. But if I really wanted to expand this, I'd want to go with magma furnaces. But that would be another video. Alright, have a nice evening, everybody. This is Jerry Simmons, and I'm tired. I'm going to go put my pants back on, or take my pants off, and go to bed. Alright, bye-bye.